Hello and welcome back to more Football Manager 2019 with me, Mr. Grantu, and Swansea City, a Welsh development. We're going to start today by looking at all of the transfers that we have made over the summer as we prepared for life back in the Premier League. In doing this, I had two focuses. Obviously, I wanted to make the squad as good as possible, but with the restriction of only being able to sign Welsh players, I also wanted to make the squad as Welsh as we possibly could. So let's have a look first of all at the released players. As you can see, the big name there, formerly a very good player for Swansea, but in his second spell here, never really lived up to much. Wilfred Bonney has been released. He was out on loan last season, didn't really do anything. Physically, he's completely gone, really. No need to renew his contract whatsoever. Several youth players have also gone and reserve players. Nobody really of any real note there. And then the main deals. Let's start with the outs. A few youth players have gone out on loan. Jan Dander, who I don't think is ever going to really develop or play for us, and he's English anyway, so it's not really much point investing too much time on him. He's gone on loan to Notts County. Somebody who was involved with the first team last season, Declan John, who is Welsh, so I didn't want to sell him right now, but I just don't think he's particularly good. He's gone on loan to Hearts for the season. Hopefully he can develop a little bit when he comes back to us, although I'm not really sure he necessarily will. Other than that, a few other young players. Nobody really who is likely to make much of an impression on the first team anytime soon. In terms of sales, we sold Gregor Zabret, who I had no idea even existed, a 23-year-old Slovenian goalkeeper. He's gone for £23,000. Thank you very much. NK Crisco. I think that's how you say it. Otherwise, though, the main departures were the main bulk of the departures, I should say, were players who were out on loan last season. They're sort of failed signings from the last time Swansea were in the Premier League, who were all on massive wages, and I just wanted to ship them off for any fee we could get. Um, Firstly, then, probably the most disappointing price, Tom Carroll, who spent most of last season injured while he was on loan with Aston Villa and didn't really do much, has gone to SM Cannes in France for, I think, a pretty cut price fee of £275,000. But I mean, nobody else really wanted him, so really was the only deal on offer. We already saw before that Christopher Nordfeld had agreed to join Inter Milan for 1.1 million. Pretty good value, I think, for a backup goalkeeper. Other than that, though, Jefferson Montero, who spent last season on loan at West Brom, and by all accounts did pretty well, he has gone to Lokomotiv Moscow, though, for 3.7 million, could potentially rise to a bit higher than that. We're going to skip over the next two for a second, because they'll probably be the more sort of slightly contentious ones. Borja Baston, who actually looks pretty good. He didn't really do much in real life for Swansea, but he has gone to Everton. This one could potentially come back to haunt us, but he was on so much money, and obviously he's not Welsh. I didn't really see much point in keeping him around. He's gone to Everton for £15 million, pretty good money. And then the Ayew brothers have both also left as well. This proved very contentious, particularly Andre Ayew. There was a bit of a squad mutiny. Pretty much the entire team was unhappy that I was selling Andre Ayew, even though even players like Lewis Thompson, who joined the club after he'd gone out on loan, so didn't even know him, were upset that I was trying to sell him. I don't know why, but there we go. I guess technically he was our best player. He is pretty good. Jordan Ayew did pretty well last season for Crystal Palace in his loan spell. But the challenge is to only sign Welsh players and to build up a squad of Welsh players. So they both really had to go. They want an insane amount of money as well. So Jordan's gone to Southampton for 15.25 million, and Andre has gone to Newcastle for 17 million. Good to get them off the books. There are two other players though who were a regular part of the first team last season who have left. And well, let's look at this. So firstly, Mike van der Hoorn has gone to Lille for 8.75 million, which looks a pretty good deal judging by his valuation at the moment. Obviously, he was pretty good for us last season, but with the players we brought in, he wasn't going to be more than fourth choice. And given the money he was on and the money he wanted, because he wanted a new contract, I just figured we'd better cash in on him. He only had 1 year left on his deal anyway, so yeah, probably not the worst transfer ever, although the board and the fans are not very happy that we have sold him because he did actually win our Player of the Year award last year. But there we go. The other one was the only transfer I really didn't necessarily want, but under the rules of the challenge, we kind of had to. And that is Leroy Fair has been sold to Southampton. He was obviously very, very good for us last season, but he's not the best player in the world. Not very good marking. Natural fitness is a bit of an issue, and he's 29 now. He also was on quite a fair bit of money, and to get 13.25 million, likely to rise somewhere to the region of 18.25 million. Pretty good. Again, the fans aren't necessarily happy about that in game, but I figured that when the offer came in, or I should say, all the other players we just offered out to get these deals, but Southampton just came in for Leroy Fair. I kind of figured we had to accept it, and there we go. So let's look at the ins, and as you can see, a whole host of Welsh players have come in. I'll show you the Welsh national team after this, just to see how many players from the most recent Welsh squad are part of our team. Firstly, then, we have a loan deal, which could actually prove to be one of our best pieces of business of the summer. Matt Smith has joined us on loan from Manchester City. He looks really, really good in this save game. He's not a player that I've seen develop particularly often, but he looks very, very, very good in this particular save game. To get him in, you're not paying him any wages whatsoever. We're not paying him any fee, and he's already our best midfielder. He was better than Leroy Fair before Leroy Fair left. And yeah, very good. Nice to get him in. Also joining us is Tom Lockyer. He's going to be our fourth choice centre back, 24 years old, signed from Bristol Rovers for just over £700,000. Pretty solid player. I don't think he's ever going to really be particularly close to being Premier League standard, but as a backup, I think he's pretty good. The only thing that's really concerning me is the fact that he's only got 10 pace and 9 acceleration, so he's a little bit slow. And not all of our other defenders are the quickest, but otherwise, technically, good marking, good passing and tackling, good heading, good positioning. I think he could do a decent job. He's only 24 years old. Not a bad bit of business for a fourth choice centre back. Again, another potentially very, very solid deal. Danny Ward joins us from Leicester for £800,000. Probably going to be our starting goalkeeper. Obviously, we still have Erwin Mulder here. He's done pretty well, but I want to give the Welshman a chance. Yeah, considering, let's just check, he joined Leicester in real life from Liverpool last summer for 12.5 million, and they've sold him after one season for 800k. I mean, he did quite well in his two appearances as well. So yeah, one of the biggest losses in recent footballing history there. Kieran Freeman has joined us as well for £1 million from Sheffield United. Pretty solid. Again, I think he's kind of more of a championship level player, but as a backup, he'll do a good job. He can play naturally on the right and on the left. He's going to be our backup right back, but he's going to do quite well, I think, as a good rotation player. Coming up next, Tyler Roberts, a little bit more expensive here, 2.9 million, could potentially rise to over 4 million. Young Welsh striker. I think the forward areas are probably one area that the current pool of Welsh players is lacking. Obviously, we've still got Ben Woodburn on loan from Liverpool, which did cause a little bit of a problem, which I'll talk about in a minute. But Tyler Roberts has come in as the backup. Pretty good physicals, some okay finishing and composure, but the rest of his technicals aren't that great. Mentals need a bit of work. He's one for the future. He could get a few games. I don't know how well he's going to develop, but it wasn't a major fee. Just to bulk out the squad, really, Lee Evans has rejoined us on a permanent deal from Wigan. He's quite highly rated by our scouts. Apparently, he is operating at a Premier League level. I'm not really sure I agree with that, but some pretty nice attributes overall. For 3.2 million, a player we already know from last year, figured it was a worthwhile investment. Obviously, we've already seen that we'd agreed to sign Tom Lawrence from our fellow promoted side Derby County for 4.6 million. Really, really pleased to get this one done. I think he's going to be a sensational player for us. And then the bigger transfers. Let's get into them. This one is probably going to be potentially one that comes back to bite me. I don't know. 6.25 million, not the craziest fee, but James Chester joins us from Crystal Palace, who we moved to at the start of the save from Aston Villa. I signed him. He's agreed to be on a rotation contract, which is key. As you'll see in a minute, we've got three quality Welsh defenders and only really two spots to put them in. But for now, James Chester's going to probably be the third choice, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how well other players adapt to the Premier League. Again, not the quickest, but very, very fit. His technicals and mentals are really, really solid, I think, for a lower Premier League side. He is 30 as well, so maybe he won't be around quite as long as our other two defenders, but I think worthwhile to get in because he was available. Our next signing then, Joe Allen for £6.5 million, bringing an old boy back to the club. I really like this signing, I think. It was between him and Andy King. I may well sign Andy King in the future if we can, because he's a pretty solid squad player. But Joe Allen's going to be probably starting for us. Good technicals, good mentals, maybe lacking on the physical side of things. We'll see how he does. One of our most expensive signings in terms of wages, but probably worth it. He is maybe not a club legend, but certainly a club icon before he moved to Liverpool. He can play as a box-to-box midfielder and as a deep line playmaker. Going to be pretty useful for us this season. Our most expensive outlay in terms of wages and second most in terms of fee is probably the much maligned in real life, I think, Paul Dummett joins us from Newcastle. I think he's definitely an upgrade on the left backs that we already had, physically and mentally very, very good. Yes, technically perhaps a little bit lacking in terms of his passing and his dribbling certainly, but I think defensively he's going to be a very solid left back for us, which, well, Declan John and Marcus Olsen really probably weren't. So I think this is a worthwhile investment. We fought off Crystal Palace in order to sign him. I had to increase his wages and other bonuses quite a lot in order to fend off their interest. But we managed to get it done. Pleased to have him in. And our biggest transfer fee, just £250,000 more than Paul Dummett, is probably our best signing as well. Chris Mepham, very exciting young Welsh defender who we managed to pick up from Bournemouth. Considerably lower than the fee that they paid for him in real life in January, about 7 million less. Again, I just think he's a really, really good player, 5-star potential, very solid technicals all over the board, good physicals, except again for his pace. We don't have the quickest centre backs. I think we will get caught out by that this season, but nevertheless, a really solid set of signings. What that now means is that most of our squad, let's look at the squad, most of our squad now, as you can see, are Welsh. Still a few English players here, one Dutchman, Kosovan, some Scottish players, a couple of Swedes, but the rest of them there are Welsh, and that's only going to improve. If we look at the Welsh national side as well, we can see that this is the most recent picked side that Ryan Giggs picked back in March, but the bulk of the squad now play for Swansea. It'll be interesting to see how well we actually, whether this goes up or whether this goes down, because obviously some of these players are only going to be rotation players for us. So whether they still get called up for the Wales squad, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So this is how we're going to line up for our first match of the Premier League season against Everton away at Goodison Park. Danny Ward is going to come straight into goal. A lot of players getting their debuts today. Connor Roberts is going to keep his place at right back, but Paul Dummett will be making his debut at left back. Joe Rodon keeps his place at left centre back, but he's going to be alongside Chris Mepham. Daniel James keeps his place on the right of midfield, but Tom Lawrence makes his first start on the left-hand side with Joe Allen and Matt Smith in the middle. George Byers is going to start in the attacking midfield role. Bert Sanchelina is a bit injured. This is the one area I really wanted to strengthen, but there really isn't anybody available who is Welsh. We did try and sign Harry Wilson. Unfortunately, we can't sign him on loan because we've already got Ben Woodburn from Liverpool. Ben Woodburn is going to be starting up front for us, of course. I did try and sign him permanently. Liverpool weren't interested. They wanted 78 million. Maybe next summer. We'll have to wait and see. David Brooks would also be a player that could play here. But again, he wasn't interested at all. And obviously, we could play Gareth Bale there, but I don't think. I think he's a little bit out of our price range. Okay, so we are wearing our lovely orange kit that appears to have been dipped in some sort of tar at the bottom there. Hopefully, we can just confuse Everton with that weird array. Early chance for them though. Michael Keane plays the ball forward, but Danny Ward carefully and calmly collects it. Can we work something out from the back here? Not too overawed by the occasion. Away from home in our first game back in the Premier League. Joe Allen comes out to Byers, and Byers, who really probably is the worst player that we have in our starting lineup, the only non-Welsh player in our starting lineup, nearly scores, hits the post. Just a few minutes in, Everton now though working it out. Chambers plays to Bernard, Idrissa Gueye, Callum Chambers, looks like they've signed him. Sigurdsson, Bernard plays it forward to Divock Origi, who finds the net on his debut. He's left Liverpool and he's decided to go to Everton. Interesting transfer, Divock, there, mate. Looked a bit offside to me, but VAR is in effect and they're not saying anything about it. We nearly scored to start with. We've now gone behind. Throw in those, come to Daniel James, and Tom Lawrence looks like he's been fouled by Seamus Coleman there. We could immediately have a penalty. I can't get over the fact that Divock Origi's joined Everton straight from Liverpool. We have got a penalty. I don't know who's going to take it. It's going to be Tom Lawrence. He was the man that was fouled. Can we get an immediate response? Yes, we can. Jordan Pickford goes the wrong way, and we are back on level terms. Tom Lawrence getting a goal on his debut, very confident, straight in the top corner. Well, we nearly took the lead. We went behind. We've equalised straight away. Byers in with a corner. It's gone all over the box, but now Everton are breaking with Divock Origi. He wants his second, out to Richarlison, saved by Danny Ward, and Paul Dummett gets it away. It's all action here at Goodison Park. We haven't even played 20 minutes yet. Oh, corner in from Byers. Mepham heads over. I haven't really caught my breath yet. We have had loads of chances so far. So many highlights. Sergi Samper, Sigurdsson's found Origi. He's through our defence. Fell a little bit asleep. Danny Ward also came out for a punch. It wasn't necessarily the best idea. He did look a little bit offside to me again, but the goal stands, and Divock Origi, who's crossed the Merseyside divide, has his second of the day. Highlight at the end of the half here. We've got the ball back. Callum Roberts out to Daniel James. Can he find a pass across? Joe Allen still working it. Tom Lawrence puts it wide. Now, what we don't want to do is concede another goal before half time. One goal's all right, but two going to be pretty hard for us to get back. And Origi's in again. He's just running past our defence. A late highlight though. Byers across to Ben Woodburn. I thought the half was going to be over, but a corner in from Byers, and it's the championship combination working again. Lawrence plays it back to Byers, and he finds the ball through, and Ben Woodburn, who is clearly offside, puts the ball in. I really do think 3 of the goals today have been offside, but apparently the referee is just allowing anything. But nevertheless, 2-2 at half time, an action-packed first half. Divock Origi, who was scoring 2 goals for Everton, but Ben Woodburn getting some revenge, of course, on loan from Liverpool. Well, yeah, 2-2. I'm going to say I appreciate their efforts. I have to say, so far, and it's very early stages in the season, of course, but so far, what got us promoted was our incredibly solid defence. We've been defensively all over the place. What nearly cost us promotion was our incredibly profligate attack. Well, we've looked brilliant going forwards, but defensively, a few calamities out there. Sigurdsson with a free kick in. We've got it away though. George Byers, who is really running the show. He's found Ben Woodburn, saved this time by Jordan Pickford. Byers with a corner into Chris Mepham, and Pickford tips it wide. Another chance though. This time Everton do get it clear. Will come out to Joe Allen. He finds Matt Smith. Richarlison finds Bernard, and Everton looking to break Divock Origi's fed back into Richarlison, who's put it away in the near side again. Not the most convincing of goalkeeping from Danny Ward. We had a whole bunch of chances to score ourselves, and oh, that's really not very good. Really not very convincing goalkeeping from Danny Ward there. He's just sort of stuck his hands up. Callum Roberts with a throw in though. I've not made any changes yet. Joe Allen, can he go for a long shot here? Matt Smith working it nicely, but the Everton box is kind of packed with the defenders, looking for that one pass to find an opening. Back to Dummett. I do feel Everton are going to break here if we lose this. They've got a lot of pacey players here. Roberts, he's found Ben Woodburn who squeezes it in, and that I think is going to be offside. Or maybe not. Roberts, he's fed it through. He's definitely offside. He's definitely offside, and that has indeed been disallowed. Bernard out to Richarlison, and it's 4. I think to be fair that this is fairly deserved. I'm pleased by our attacking endeavours, but I think clearly a lot to work on defensively. Richarlison, again, he looked offside. I would question some of the officiating today, but Danny Ward has been absolutely terrible in goal. Is it too late to get a refund and sign Carl Darlow? I don't know. Not the worst. Not the worst performance. A defeat, obviously disappointing, but not the worst. I'm not gonna criticise them. I think, yeah, yeah. You should be positive. You should be positive. I need to criticise. I should have criticised Danny Ward really. Um, but okay, there we go. So that's going to be the end of the episode there. There's not much point looking at the league table. We're going to be somewhere near the bottom, in fact. As you can see, we are in 18th. So could and should and hopefully will do better next time. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to. Post a comment about what you think of the transfers. What chance do you think we have of staying up this season? I think we'll probably just about stay up, but it's going to be a little bit touch and go. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.